Hello, in this video I will talk about the most fundamental structure of matter. An atom is the basic building block of chemistry. It is the smallest unit into which matter can be divided without the release of electricity charged particles. It also is the smallest unit of matter that has the characteristic properties of a chemical element. The atom is the most basic structure of matter, and the components of the atom are particles of matter. And there are different types of atoms called chemical elements. The first chemical element is hydrogen, which consists of a proton found in the nucleus and an electron that rotates around the nucleus. Then we have the helium atom, which consists of 2 protons and 2 neutrons in the nucleus of the atom and 2 electrons orbiting the nucleus. The carbon atom contains 6 protons and 6 neutrons in the nucleus and 6 electrons, 2 of which orbit close to the nucleus, and the other 4 electrons orbit farther away from the nucleus. A group of atoms connected by a chemical bond is called a molecule. Okay, for example, water molecule is H2O, consists of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. The chemical formula of water is H2O. Another example of molecule is carbon dioxide, CO2 in chemical spelling, and actually it is a gas at a room temperature. Each molecule of CO2 consists of 1 carbon atom and 2 oxygen atoms, linked to it by a double covalent bond. Pure carbon occurs in two common forms in nature: diamond and graphite. An elementary particle is a particle that is not composed of other particles. Particle physics describes how the other particles are composed of elementary particles. For example, the atom is made up of smaller particles, electrons, protons, and neutrons. The protons and neutrons in turn are made up of more elementary particles known as quarks. The study of elementary particles in another step in man's effort is another step in man's efforts to understand the structure of matter. It is estimated that are fewer than 10 to the power of 87 individual elementary particles in the visible universe. Okay, today 17 elementary particles are known. and another corresponding antiparticle for each of them. Of these, two quarks and the electron make up the matter that surrounds us every day, and four other mediate the fundamental forces in nature, besides gravity, which is not currently described by particles. On March 14th, 2012, the physicists at the Particle Accelerator in Switzerland announced that they are largely convinced that the particle they discovered is indeed the Higgs boson. Experiments in particle accelerators are focused on finding an answer to the question which still remains open: do more elementary particles exist, or does the standard model provide a final answer to the most basic structure of matter? Okay? There are a total of 17 elementary particles, which include 6 quarks and 6 leptons and 5 bosons. Bosons which are force particles, okay? What is quark? Yes, quark is one of the elementary particles, the most basic building blocks of matter known today in physics. So what is lepton? Lepton or leptons are a group of elementary particles with a half integer spin, i.e. fermions, which don't react to the strong force. In the sorting of particles, leptons form a group corresponding to the group of quarks. So what is boson? Boson or bosons are force-carrying particles whose spin is an integer, unlike fermions. These particles may be elementary particles or composed of subparticles. These particles often allow the transfer of force between fermions, which are particles of matter. According to quantum field theory and the Standard Model, the four fundamental forces in nature, that are the strong nuclear force, the weak nuclear force, the electromagnetic force, and the gravitational force, so they are carried by four families of gauge bosons, which are 13 elementary subatomic particles. So the first subatomic particles is the photon that have spin 1, carry the electromagnetic force. And then we have the gluon as spin 1, carries the strong force, and actually there are 8 types of gluon. And also we have W and Z bosons, have spin 1, carry the weak force. There are 2 types of W and 1 type of Z. Okay, and the last sub-particle is the hypothesized graviton as spin 2 carries the force of gravity. So the graviton has not been found yet, but all the scientists are sure that there is a subatomic fundamental particle that actually carries the gravitational force that is called the graviton. Okay, according to the standard model, there is also a Higgs boson which has spin 0 and determines the valence of the other particles. The field and the particle provide a confirmable hypothesis for the origin of the mass in the elementary particles. Okay, so the boson Higgs is the particle that is responsible for the mass in the subatomic particles. So because of the boson Higgs, we have a mass to the matter. Okay? The existence of the Higgs boson stood as hypothesis for several years, but in July 2012 it was announced as part of an experiment conducted in Switzerland that there was 99.99995% certainty of its existence. Okay, thank you very much.